No. Okay, guys, let's make this very informal. Let's, what would you like to hear? Reuven suggested it be like Sichas Chaverim. Sichas Chaverim is a conversation that you ask whatever you want to ask. It doesn't matter. There's no guarantee I'll know the answer, but hopefully, Baruch Hashem, I've been doing this for quite a few years. When Reuven was still a Talmud of mine, back in the late 70s, right?
Late 70s,
Yeah.
Last century.
So it's some 50, almost 50 years, right?
Almost 50.
So let's try. Let's try. What would you like to hear? Any questions? Feel free. Any questions? Any subject?
You know, with
Oh, wait, I have to. I'm sorry. I have to preface. I have a hearing loss. I'm at that age when it's very common. So just loud and clear. That's all.
For sure. You know, when Rabbi Nachman talks about everything from Hashem is from a place of Him loving us, how can you really feel that and internalize it when, you know, terrible, you know, things
are happening?
Yeah, I don't just mean in the world, but I mean in people's own lives. If there's death and bad illness, how can people think, okay, Hashem has ended the life of a family member?
Hashem is kind, and the guy is broken arm, or he lost a limb, or he's blind, or he's suffering from cancer. Boy, thank you for that love, right? Right?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the question. The answer is you can't. You can't. Right? Unless you are completely in tune with Hashem, you'll never really feel that way. Rabbi Nachman has a lesson, number 62, in the second part of the Likutei Moharan.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi Nachman says there that Yisrael, we're the Jewish nation, Yisrael, right? Yisrael is the Rosh Tevis, Kel Shakai Yitain Lochem Rachamim. Hashem should give you compassion. That's the Rosh Tevis, right? What Rabbi Nachman is teaching there is that we ask Hashem to give His compassion to us, that we should control the compassion. Why is that? Because Hashem's compassion could be some of the toughest things you'll ever face in life.
Mm.
And by Hashem, it's compassion.
Yeah.
Why? Because Hashem wants to give you kaparas avonos. Right? You may have sinned, you deserve punishment. Would you like to get the punishment in Gehenna? Or would you prefer it, get it over with here? So that after 120 you go straight to Gan Eden. Okay?
Right.
That's one scenario. Or Yankel.
Welcome to town.
Thank you.
So now I understand the change of weather. This is the first sunny day that we have. Pretty much. So you brought
Look at that.
you brought the sunshine.
Look at that. The second thing is Hashem's compassion is that a person suffer. Why would Hashem ever want a person to suffer? Why? Let's say the person is completely clean of sin, right?
Yeah.
Not like Adam Rishon, or like Avraham Avinu, but he had a problem too, B'ma'eda, okay? Or anyone, the always the tzaddikim, right, David HaMelech, but the guy's a pure tzaddik. Why would Hashem want him to have Yisurim? That's a Gemara in Brachos in the beginning. Hey, I think it is. Gemara talks about Yisurim, Yisurim shel Yira, Yisurim shel Ahava. There are suffering that a person suffers from the love of Hashem. Why? Right? And this is again, there's no payback. The guy doesn't owe Hashem anything. He's a good man. Right? But think about it. The Gemara says, Char mitzvah mahai al maleka. There is no reward for any mitzvah in this world. Right? So, person lives, he does his mitzvahs, he does tefillin, tzitzis, Shabbos, whatever, kashrus, and he passes away. Okay? So this world, he had no reward for it. In the next world, he has a reward. Let's take any mitzvah, shiluach hakein, send away the bird, the mother bird, right? It's a light mitzvah, the Gemara calls it. Well, kala shabakala. Very easy mitzvah. There's a reward for it. What could I say about the reward? I have no idea. All right, but let's say the reward is 10,000 years in Gan Eden. Let's say, okay? 10,000 years in Gan Eden for sending away a mother bird. But the reward has a limit. So it's only 10,000 years. Person has Yisurim, so that adds to the reward. So that Hashem would send a person Yisurim, we could have suffering in this world, right? That's completely out of the love of Hashem, and it's made for us to have a much greater reward than we normally would. All right? Now, how do you internalize that? And that's a great question. Because unless you get yourself in sync with Hashem, there was I'll talk about Marantinus, Nochem ish gamzu. Nochem ish gamzu, right? Because he used to say gamzu l'toiva. Everything is for the good. No matter what happened to him. The Gemara tells a story that he was carrying a chest full of precious stones to give to the emperor, a gift from the Jewish people. Right? The innkeeper where he stayed was wicked, and he figured it out. So he took out the gems and he replaced it with earth. So now he comes to the emperor. He's got a chest full of earth to give to the emperor, right? King Charles, right? You're going to bring a gift of earth to King Charles. Right? This is England, right? Okay, so they bring the gift. The emperor looks at it, kill him. Eliyahu Hanavi comes along, and Nochem ish gamzu said, this is for the Torah, this is for the good. Right? I mean, here he's about to be sentenced to death. This is all good. Right? Eliyahu Hanavi comes to the place and he says, listen, Emperor, their forefather Avraham Avinu, when he fought the 4 kings, right? He used to take earth and throw it at them, and the earth became spears and arrows, and it killed the enemy. Try it. Which Hashem, of course, helped along, and he went out to battle. He sent it the earth to his warriors. They went out to battle with the earth, and they won. Right? He rewarded the guy with a chest full of gems. Right? Got his gems back. When he went back, the innkeeper saw what happened. It was his earth. So he brought the earth to the emperor, and he ended up being killed. Right? But Nochem ish gamzu said everything is for the good. Everything. Right? I challenge you to think that what happened now in Gaza, October 7th, is for the good. Look how the people, the Jews in England, are suffering from that. So I challenge you and say, how can you say that's for the good? But it was Hashem that engineered it. For whatever reason, Hashem knew these people had to die in such a certain way. Let's put it this way. The Arizal and Shara Kavonos, see, he opens up Shara Kavonos with this statement that it's called Hakdoma Ktana Limois HaMashiach, a small introduction to the days of Mashiach. What's the introduction? He says that there are people from the time of the Beis HaMikdash, when it was destroyed, people sinned. That's why the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. So he said they all deserved certain punishments. But there wasn't enough time, like almost the way he says it there, to punish everybody with the punishment they deserved. So the people come back in reincarnation. Gilgul. They come back 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, for whatever amount of times is necessary to clean up that Avera. And the Averas were huge. The first temple was Lashon Hara, was Avodah Zarah, Gili Araya, Shvichas Domim. This second temple was Sinas Chinam, Lashon Hara, Chila, all that. So he says everybody gets their punishment. Some people, it's quick. Some people, it's stretched out, like the hostages. I don't know if that's what's happening now. I don't know what I don't know heaven's accounting. They have an accounting. I don't know if that's the accounting. But I do know that there is an accounting in heaven why these people were chosen to suffer, right? Now, could you say it's Hashem's love? If you know the Arizal, yeah. Would you like to be there? Definitely not. Right? You will not. But this is what it is. We don't know Hashem's accounting system. It's very different than our accounting system.
Now, how do we balance that?
Huh?
How do we balance this understanding, which is a fundamental Jewish understanding of things, with just the human sentiment of feeling,
Yeah.
Feel like noise all. It seems sometimes it can conflict. Like on the one hand, we know everything is for the best. On the other hand, it's really horrible. So
So that was how the question was asked. Can you phrase the question again?
Yeah, about how to internalize some
Hashem, the Rabbi Nachman teaches everything Hashem does is for the good, right? How do you do that? The answer is, unless you're completely in sync with Hashem, you can't. But that's part of our test.
So is the ideal to get to a place where it doesn't bother you?
Everything is great.
Meaning to say, is that mamish an ideal that a person
ideal.
hears on Simchas Torah October 7th, and there's such ma'aminim that whatever.
Yeah, if you're such ma'aminim, there's no whatever. I mean, Hashem sent the punishment, it's a lesson to us. Hashem sent us that punishment, us collectively, Klal Yisrael is suffering. I'm 78 and a half. I grew up in America. I lived on a block with Italians, right? I had myself beaten up a few times by the Goyim, my nose broken. I had, Baruch Hashem, I say Baruch Hashem. The night that my nose was broken, I said Baruch Hashem, right? I was bleeding all over, whatever. It was good. It was Halloween night, right? And they went and they were marking up a shul. I caught the kids marking up a shul. There was some 15 kids. I ran into them, pulled the chalk away, right? And it was a big fight, and one of them was a Vietnam veteran. So he was stronger than me. He knew how to fight. Okay? But I said that night, Baruch Hashem, whatever it is. The point is, you can never know. The reason is we are put in this world is tzimtzumim. Tzimtzum means a constriction, right? Did anyone have anything difficult happen to them? Huh? I mean, you're not 1 month old, and even then they have their troubles too. But anyone have anything difficult happen to them? The world was created with a tzimtzum. You have to understand that. Hashem, the Arizal explains, Hashem is Ein Sof. He's infinite. We cannot grasp the concept of infinite in our minds. The human mind, for whatever it is finite. You cannot grasp the infinite. So Hashem had to kind of withdraw himself from where he was, Kaviyachol, to create an empty space. It's called a vacated space, the Chol Haponi it's called. But he created it, right? But how did he do that? He constricted himself, Kaviyachol, as it were, so that this space, God is not there. Right? And then he created the world. And the fact remains that in our lives, unless you have that vacated space, or you have a tzimtzum, you have a constriction, unless you're going to have that, you can't create. You want to be creative? You want to create something in your life? You want to make something? You want to do something, right? It's the absence that I have to figure out what to do next. That's a tzimtzum, right? From that tzimtzum is where I find Hashem, because Hashem is in that vacated space. We don't know, we don't see him. It's hard. You don't see Hashem. Lo yirani ha'odam v'choy, no one's going to see me and live. So automatically, you can't see Hashem. It's our tzimtzum, our lack of being able to perceive Hashem that gives us these kinds of tests. So yes, the ultimate is to say, I love Hashem, and I know Hashem loves me. Excuse me. And I know that I can find Hashem, I can find His love. But am I there yet? A couple of weeks ago I fell. I nearly cracked the rib. Baruch Hashem, it wasn't cracked. But I had a nice feeling that accompanied me for a few weeks until it finally went away, right? I used to say, thank Hashem, right? Get over it. You know, you're a big boy now, you know. take the pain and know that Hashem loves you. I was saying that to myself. But that's how you can only draw the love by your love of Hashem. You know what love is, right? When you know what love is, and see, Hashem, thank you. You know, I thought about it once. Since I was born, August 6, 1945. Anybody know the date? It was the day the atom bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. That's when I was born. My mother always said 2 bombs. One in Hiroshima, one in Brooklyn, but okay. But did you realize that you were fed, clothed, you had a roof over your head ever since then? Did you ever think of it? Not everybody has that. So learn to love what you have as a situation. When you learn that love, you could begin to understand that Hashem does love me. There are times it's very painful. It's a pasuk. Es asher yehav Hashem yochiach. The one who Hashem loves, He will rebuke him. Why? Again, what we said, either kaparas avernis or to increase the reward that a person has after 120, right? Any other questions?
Can I say a story of the Alpha
What?
Rebbe? Can I say a story?
Moshe,
of
if I remember the name,
Moshe,
right?
Moshe.
Yeah.
I read once in one of the Sifrei Chabad.
You have to speak a little louder. I said I have a hearing loss, and I'm serious. And I'm not trying to play with that.
I saw in one of the Sifrei Lubavitch, the Alter Rebbe, and one of his very great Hasidim, who was a Chassid like the Alter Rebbe wanted a Chassid. And this Chassid had a very, very happy marriage. He was very glicklich. His wife used to curse him and used to abuse him verbally. Whenever she had any kind of opportunity, she would criticize him at every possible opportunity, and when there wasn't one, she would, Baruch Hashem, create an opportunity to lay into him. So he was a groiser Oived Hashem, a groiser tzaddik. So he tried, to put up with it. And in the olden days, it was very hard to be Masiach Das. There was no internet, there was no mobile phone. He had to put up with it. He couldn't really find. There was no football in Ukraine, in Russia. He couldn't really find much of a Hesach Hadas. In the end, he came to the Alter Rebbe he had the Yechidus with the Rebbe, and he complained bitterly. I can't deal with this anymore. The Rebbe said to him, "You should know, in the days of the Bayis Rishon, you were one of the Rishonim, the Roshim of Ovdei Avodah Zorah. You were one of the high priests of idol worship. And you were chai of so many skilos, because you knew what you were doing, that if the world would run till the year 6000, and you were reincarnated as many times as there was, it wouldn't be enough. There's not enough time in the world for you to suffer in the Gilgulim.
So you got married.
So you got married? And he says every single curse, the Eibishter considers equivalent to a klal, to a skila. You should know how kind Hashem is with you. That He was makar of you to somebody who could tell you this and that you believe them. Because it's true. Be besimcha.
Yeah. I'll just interject with a little joke. A guy came to his Rebbe running, and Rebbe, I want to live eternally. You want to live eternally? You have any advice for me? He says, yeah, get married. He says, I'll get married, I'll live eternally. He says, no, you'll know you don't want to live eternally. Okay, whatever the story is, that's the emes. The emes is every time the Gilgul, everything that happens, it is a purpose for it. It's out of Hashem's love for Am Yisrael. Right? And the Svarim bring, when Mashiach comes, he will tell everyone what they suffered, why they suffered, and everyone will put things in perspective. Because you can't explain to me today what's happening in the world, that the entire world has turned against the Jewish people. The entire world. Right? I never saw this before. Right? I've been through some rough times here and there, but whatever. I've never seen anything like the sinas chinam that everybody has against Am Yisrael today. Right? What's happening? And I cry to Hashem, and I speak to Him, His us. And I ask Him, protect Am Yisrael. Protect us, because I've never seen it. The answer is that Mashiach is coming. Mashiach should be here. Right? He should be here already, after all that's happening. Right? Yeshaya Hanavi says, V'era ki ein ish, v'eshtoimim ki ein mafkia. He says, at the end of time, Hashem will see that there isn't one person standing up for the Jews. And I says, v'eshtoimim, like I'm amazed and wondered, there is nobody speaking on behalf of the Jews. That's how the pasuk ends. That Hashem will say, I will be there. Right? And to me, this looks like that time. It's to me. I don't know if I'm right or not. But that's what it looks like to me. And Mashiach is really here. Right? It's up to us.
He's mentioned about Spoidus.
Louder.
He mentioned about Spoidus.
Louder,
You
please.
mentioned about Spoidus. Rabbi Nachman said it's the highest thing. What's your main eitzah? What's your main eitzah in sort of opening up to Hashem.
What's the main answer to open up
To
to
open
Hashem?
up to Hashem and inspired us to make a breakthrough with Him. 'Cause there's a-
Oi! You ever try that?
He's British, remember.
Ah.
They're capable of very little. You have to train them.
There are two things to exploit this. It's a mission in Masechet Brachos, right? Tefillah is Hoidah ala Ovar, thanks for the past, and Tzayka la'osid, calling out for the future. It's a mission in Brachos, right? Now let's illustrate it with Reb Nosson in the Kut Halachos. Third chapter in Tillim, Hashem, Mizmor David, a song to David HaMelech, B'vochoi b'bnei Avshalom b'noi, when he fled from his son Avshalom. Right? Now you have to picture the scenario. David HaMelech became king when he was 30. He fought battles against every one of the nations around us, right? It's like Hashem telling Moshe Rabbeinu, I got the great land to lead to the kids, right? He says, it's so great, what's the catch? He says, the neighbors. Anyway, whatever you have, Moshe Rabbeinu, we have the neighbors, we have the land, we have... And David HaMelech fought for every inch of Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara says some things are called a kibush yochid, what he captured on his own, whatever. But he fought and fought and fought and fought. He had trouble with his kids, with Amnon, with the worst one was Avshalom. So he's fleeing for his life. He fled for his life. He had to cross the Jordan River and whatnot. So Pasuk says, Mizmor the David, a song to King David. What's he singing? His life is on. He was 67 years old. 67. He consolidated Am Yisrael into one powerful nation, right? He led them. He was beloved by them. Overnight, Avshalom turns the whole nation against him. He's running for his life. What's the Mizmor? Right? Okay, the Gemara says the average child has Rahmanas on the parents, right? Remember when you had to get married? Dad, I need this, I need that, right? Everyone has Rahman. No, I'll leave it. Done. I'll raise the money myself for the wedding, whatever. Anyway, so whatever happened, I'll take care of myself. I'll buy my own house and whatnot. But the average child has compassion on his father. Here, the guy wanted to kill him. What do you mean he has compassion? Reb Nosson explains that you look at the psukim, you don't even see a song. Pasuk says, Hashem Morab Utzorai, how many enemies I have. Rabbi Momer Lanafshi Ein Yeshua over the Kimsela. People say there's no hope for him. Right? Where's the song? Right? Reb Nosson answers, David HaMelech looked back. He was 67. He looked back and he saw that his life was one life full of tzaras. Muzor ha'isi liyecha. He was banished from his own father's house when he was a kid because the halacha came down differently. It's a whole different Gemara in Yevamos. But whatever. Point is that he had been there before in tzaras. He suffered. He had tzimtzumim almost every day of his life, right? And he always looked back and saw that Hashem was there for him and Hashem helped him. Yeah? He realized it. Take a look back. I had the Plishtim, the Ammonim, I had everyone. I beat them because Hashem was there with me. Hashem helped me. So there's no reason to think that this tzara is any different than any other tzara that I had before. And therefore, Mizmor the David, Hashem saved me my whole life till now. I thank Hashem for whatever happened till now. Now that I thanked Hashem for my past, I can scream out, Hashem mo rabu tzoroi. Hashem, how much. The way to come to Spoidus, to thank Hashem, to scream out to Hashem, is through thanking Hashem. Hashem, you've really been there for me. Remember when you were in grade school, you got a fight with this guy, or you had this teacher you didn't like, or they didn't like you, right? But we're here today. Things have happened today that we grew out of that. Hashem has been there all along, and we're here. If I realize and recognize that Hashem is with me, that gives me the power and the strength to scream out to Hashem and to ask Him for whatever, and the sky is the limit. You can ask Hashem for anything. Whatever you think of, you could ask Hashem. He's all-powerful, is He? Yeah. If He's all-powerful, then He can give you anything you want.
Is there a certain limitation on that in terms of not being greedy with what you ask Hashem for?
Listen, if you want to be greedy, there's no end to that either.
Does it harm your tefillahs if they're excessive?
No, you have to just be a little careful. The Gemara uses the term "charusa klapi shmaya mi'ika," like who's a real good friend of Hashem. You know, am I going to say, "Hey, good old buddy, Daddy-O in the sky," or whatever you want to call him? Right? Yeah, a little respect, a little respect, and a little bit common sense. Common sense. Hashem, I want to know Shas. Okay, that's very good. Did I study it? Right? Or I'm learning one Masechta now. The Daf Hayomi is in Bava Metzia. I'm learning Bava Metzia now. Do I know it? Can I understand it? Yes. I have to ask Hashem to help me for that. Can I get, at this moment, can I understand all of Shas? No. So be practical in what you ask Hashem. Be practical. That's all. Right? Shalom bayis, you need parnasa, right? You need good health. You have kids. You have sometimes there's trouble raising children. Sometimes. Right? Especially in today's generation. I doubt if I could make it being a parent in this generation. Thank God I'm only a grandparent, great-grandparent. But I look at the generation, what you got to go through today. I can't understand how people could do it. Right? But every person has their own test, their own individual test. You can ask Hashem for anything, because He could provide it. But be practical what you're going to do with it. What is the saying in English? Be careful what you ask for, you may get it. Right?
Chaim, you were zeichet to see the last generation of Breslov Mashviim, Hasidim.
Yeah, we're coming out with a book on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We hope in a few months it'll be out, yeah.
So maybe I'm wondering if there are some stories that are just on the top of your head about Rav Levi Yitzchak or Shmuel Shapira or some of the previous generation. Maybe that you experienced personal stories. Maybe I don't know if any come to mind that maybe you'd like to share. It's always very powerful to hear from a person who was there at that time.
Well, Shmuel Shapiro was somebody who did not look outside of Dalaramas. His Gemara in Megillah, I believe it is, that Rav Yehuda was a student of Rav. Rav had 10 different attributes that he was very careful. One of them was not looking out. He would walk in the street down, he would not look at women, he would not look at anything Tomei. Rav Yehuda said, I can do all of them that Rav did, except for watching my eyes, guarding my eyes, and not looking where I'm not supposed to look. Reb Shmuel Shapiro did not look where he was not supposed to look, right? So he came to America in 1970. He came to America. Why? Somebody a year before, Yankel Tvelinski, wanted to go to Uman. The Russians did not give visas to Israelis. So he came upon an idea that if you have what they call a stateless person's passport issued by the UN, then you can get a visa. So he came, and in 1969, this Yankel Gdal Tvelinski, he came, he got a stateless person, and he got to the Tzion that summer, okay? Reb Shmuel wanted to do that too, so he came to America. My father-in-law, Rabbi Rosenfeld, brought him on the plane, and he said, you ever try and go to the bathroom on the plane? Right, there's always people standing in the aisle. Yeah? When Reb Shmuel had to go to the bathroom, the aisles were always empty. The aisles were always empty. He led him to the bathroom, but the aisles were always empty. Reb Shmuel came to America, he stayed in my house. He slept here, right? He would go to sleep 8 o'clock at night. People wanted to see him, so they would come. I had to be the bad guy to kick everyone out at 8 o'clock at night, because Shmuel would get up Chatzos every night. He didn't miss a night of Chatzos. I gave him our bedroom, and he would get up at 12, Chatzos, and he would sit on a chair next to the radiator. It was winter, February. And he would have his spoiledus the entire night, till we went to shul in the morning, 6:30 or so, right?
Without a ticket chatzos? Without a ticket?
He knew everything behind. He said he had actually dyslexia. He had trouble reading, because when he was younger, he used to read all the time, and they had he was in the old city, and they didn't have any electricity, or they had very little, so he would read by candlelight in the middle of the night, to stay up and whatnot, as a kid. So he had a form of dyslexia. It was difficult to read. But he would have his spoiledus 6-7 hours straight, no problem, right? Watch. Rabbi Chaim Rosen, my Rosh Yeshiva, was in his spoiledus. He didn't move without his spoiledus. If he had something small that came up, the first thing was speak to Hashem. First thing is bring Hashem into the equation, whatever it was. But he knew how to daven. And there were times he just let himself into davening, become so dovek with the Eibishter. So it was the first day Hanukkah. In Breslov, they daven pretty slow. So silent Shemona Esrei, 7-10 minutes, whatever. Here everyone waits. I gotta go to work. The Chazan was the Baruch Atah Hashem. In Breslov, it was like a good 7-8 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. And then you have Chazoros Hashatz, also Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melekei Amvisei, right? So another 10 minutes. And then it was Hallel, it was Chanukah. Full Hallel was at least a half hour, right? I witnessed Rabbi Chaim start Shemona Esrei with the nets, right? And he stood out Shemona Esrei when they finished Hallel. 50-minute Shemona Esrei. That was the first and last time I saw something like that. But, I've seen long Shemona Esreis, not just Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. I think during the year I've seen Erlicha people daven along, put their heart. Shemona Esrei has everything that a person needs. if you know the tefillah, we have a book, Potency of Prayer, which discusses the whole davening, the korbanos and whatever. But to watch and see something like that, amazing. Breslov Lippel, Tzviari Lippel, he was a bocher, 16, 17, something like that. And he found out about the Tikkun HaKlolia that you say by Rabbi Nachman's gravesite, the 10 kapitlach, and give some tzedakah, right? Rabbi Nachman promises, I'll take you out of Gehenna. Right? A good promise. He lived in Poland. I said, I'm going. His father tried to stop him from going, but he snuck out.
He was a Talmud of the Chafetz Chaim, right?
No, not Rutsiari Lippel. I don't think so. Rav Matis Barzeski was a Talmud. But whatever. So he snuck out. And he snuck across the border. He told me once how he snuck across the border and they were bleeding in their feet. They had to make sure not to leave any footprints from shoes and whatnot. Anyway, Bekitzer, he got to Uman. In Uman, there was what they called the Chevra Oivdim, a group of Oivdim, those who served Hashem. What they do, they would get up Chatzos in Ukraine in the winter. Chatzos is about 11 o'clock at night. They would get up Chatzos as a group. They would go down to the river, break the ice, toivel in the mikveh, in the river. They had straw that they would set on fire so that they wouldn't freeze. Reb Tzviari told me the biggest fear they always had was when they, after they toivel, they come up and they find a hole where they cut in the ice. Because if you didn't find it, you were dead. They said that was the biggest fear they had. But they did it. Every night, they went out to the fields for a spoididus, right? You want to talk about a spoididus? They were there till the nets. The nets was 7:30, 8 o'clock in Ukraine. They spent the whole night in the freezing forest, right? I mean, he told me there was some nights you just couldn't go out. It was so cold. But they went out there. They went. Levi Yitzchok was, Rabbi Chaim and Levi Yitzchok together were arrested by the NKVD, that was the forerunner of the KGB. And they were imprisoned in Uman. And they were sent to Kiev after a few months. Usually anyone sent to Kiev was killed, usually. But they met a Jewish guy who worked for the KGB, and his father-in-law was a Breslov. So he said to him, if you ever come across a Breslov, be lenient with them. So he said, you're going to have a trial, but I'm letting you free. So shortly afterwards, Rabbi Chaim got his exit visa and he was able to leave Russia. He wasn't allowed to leave the city of Uman, but he left Uman and he went to Moscow, picked up the exit visa, and then he went to Odessa and he got on a boat and whatever. And after he left, the notice came for his trial. Reb Levi Yitzchok also had that, Levi Yitzchok Bender. So he fled. He moved to different cities, different places. For a while he lived near Moscow, not in Moscow itself, but near Moscow. But came Rosh Hashanah 1939, 1938, Tak Tzadik Tes. It was a very big manhunt for him. And he prepared to leave for Uman for Rosh Hashanah. He said, what are you going to go there? They're looking for you, especially in Uman. He says, I'm more afraid not to go. The Rebbe said, come to him Rosh Hashanah. I'm more afraid not to go than to go. So he went. And in Uman, there was one person who was a Moser. A Moser means an informer. And he was looking for Levi Yitzchok, and he found him one night. Levi Yitzchok pleaded with him. He says, no, I wouldn't do anything to you. But Levi Yitzchok realized he's lying. So he knew Uman like the back of his hand. So he managed to escape. Right? After Rosh Hashanah, he had to go back to where he lived. Someone bandaged his face to look like a very sick person and had trouble with it. And he bought a ticket, not from Uman, but from a different city. And that's how he, when on the train, the informer was there. And he tried to get him arrested. Levi Yitzchok showed, my ticket is from this city. So he was able to get off the train. When he got off the train in Kiev, they were looking for him. The informer ran around. And he just kept on running from place to place till he finally ran to Tashkent, which is Uzbekistan, all the way to the east. There, more or less, they let they weren't on his tail as much. That came World War II, so things were a bit different for someone like him. But these were giants among giants. Giants among giants. I was zocher to know them. It was, you can't imagine what it meant to look at these people and to know what they accomplished in Avodas Hashem, because all they did was learn and daven and try and go close to Hashem. Rabbi Chaim, the Meister, Rabbi Chaim Rosen had a business in Russia. Right? When he moved to Israel, he built the Breslov Yeshiva in Salan Street and Meir Sha'ar, the big Breslov Shul. He built it, right? So he was busy with a lot of other things. But if you ever went into him in his house, you'd see him learning, davening. When he got sick at the end of his life, he would say, if I didn't have the Eitzah of Espoididus, what would I be able to do? He was very sickly. His brother had stuck a fork in his eye when he was about 5 years old. So he had trouble with an eye his whole life. And whatever. But he was learning or davening. Levi Yitzchok, learning davening. Shmuel Shapiro, learning. Breslov, others. They were just incredible people. All right? Any questions? Anything you ever wanted to know about Breslov and you didn't?
I have a question.
Say it loud.
Yeah, a little louder
Say it
though.
loud.
Yeah, I'll say it very loud. Very loud. So, what should be our attitude towards people who are somewhat connected on the surface? It appears they're connected to Breslov, but they encourage people not to go to Uman Rosh Hashanah, instead to go to themselves for Rosh Hashanah.
My opinion,
Yeah, your opinion.
don't get involved with them. See, I have a choice. Rabbi Nachman says have a spoidedus, and there's a lot of gedolim that say don't have a spoidedus. That's only for the very great tzaddikim. I'm a chassid of Rabbi Nachman. I should listen to what Rabbi Nachman said. If Rabbi Nachman says go to Uman Rosh Hashanah, I knew a guy, and I know one guy who's very, very big in Breslov, and he says don't go. I don't see the question. Rabbi Nachman says go, you go. If I'm a chassid, I go. If I'm not a chassid, I don't listen to him anyway. Right? That should be your attitude. What does Rabbi Nachman say? Whatever he said then, over 200 years ago, is effective today too. How do I know? From the many, many thousands of people who have picked up on Rabbi Nachman's teachings and they practice them and how it's changed their life. That's how I know. What he said 200 years ago is effective today too. So why should I listen to someone who tells me not to listen to Rabbi Nachman? Okay?
Yeah.
Simple enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Very clear.
Now, I'll agree with you, Uman is not Orlando, Disney World. It's not, right? And there are manias, there are obstacles to going there, right? Today, it's not so bad. When we first went, my first trip was 1965. I had to sneak into Uman. But today, when we started going in 1990s, when Ukraine opened up, right, there were houses without toilets. The city gave water 2 hours a day, an hour in the morning, you filled up your buckets, and an hour in the evening. And if you didn't do it, you would have to go downstairs to the well and pump water in the street. I remember those pumps, right? And of course, kosher food. The place was really filthy, right? And whatnot. Today, the VAD, the Committee for Uman, pays the sanitation department every couple of hours. They collect the garbage, right? In those days, garbage all over. It wasn't easy. Today, it's a lot better. You can have amenities in Uman. You can. There's food available. There's a guy, American guy, Laser Shiner, who has tents he built, right? He provides food, right? It's an amazing operation, right? It's like you're in the army in the desert of Saudi Arabia and you have a full-scale kitchen with everything you need, Starbucks, and all that. They have all that. See, Shaya Lichter. Shaya, I'm in the middle of a shia. My son will take the call. Oh, that means money came in. Good.
Reb Chaim, today it's a little bit easier to see the way that Rabbi Nachman's vision has come to life. Breslov is exploding in a million ways too quickly. You know, Breslov, everybody's getting connected. I'm curious whether there was frustration or confusion on the part of the mashpiyim of the previous dar when Breslov was so tiny and overlooked and misunderstood. These people who understood what Likud Morality is and abused. So I'm curious whether you sensed like a bewilderment on their part, like how was the world missing this?
Rabbi Nachman said, Chaim, there will come a time when people will want me very much. Okay? That's what he said. There will come a time when he had a lot of opposition during his life, and yet he said, there will come a time when people will want me very much. I'm in Breslov since 1958, right? I learned that Sikha. I had a Chaim a year or two later, whatever. Right? And I have to tell you that it was not easy to believe it, because we were abused. We were laughed upon. We were called the Toita Hasidim, the dead Hasidim, right? That you don't have a Rebbe, so he's dead. You're dead. You're dead Hasidim, okay? Right? Breslov used to sometimes answer, it's better to have a dead Rebbe that's alive than a live Rebbe that's dead, right? And that's a different story. But yeah, we were made fun of, we were abused and disregarded. Yeah, nothing. Breslov, nothing, whatever the case is. I was thrown out of Mir Yeshiva in Eretz Israel in 1963 because I was a Breslover, right? And the Mir Yeshiva, where everyone goes to, you know, they have on the CV for the Shidduch, I was in Mir Yeshiva in Eretz Israel, right? They all have to have that, whatever. But I was thrown out of there because I was Breslov. That was 1963. And there were about 150 Breslover that survived after the Second World War. Right? Today we're one of the largest Hasidus in the world. Now, Chabad has their emissaries all over the world. Satmar, Belz, Vizhnitz, they have the internal growth. From the Hasidim that did survive the war, there's a lot of people who keep on growing, Baruch Hashem, Puravu. It's beautiful to watch, right? The Frum communities keep on growing. Breslov had about 150 people after the war. There were about 30 in the DP camps, about 30 in Ukraine. There were about 90 in Eretz Israel, 80, 90 in Eretz Israel, and there were about 10 in America. And that was it, right? Before COVID, the Rosh Hashanah before COVID, we had some 70,000 people in Uman. Now, not everybody that came was a Breslover, right? Admit it, right? But 70,000 people denotes interest in Rebbe Nachman. 70,000 people shows that there's interest in Rebbe Nachman, that there's interest in what he teaches, right? We have published hundreds of thousands of books. We have, let's put it this way, we have about 250 books that Breslov Research Institute has put out in different languages. We have modern Hebrew, we have English, we have Spanish. Whatever is in English is in Spanish. French, we have about a third of what we've done in English. We have books in Russian, right? Many hundreds of thousands of copies of these books have been bought. It shows there's an interest in Rebbe Nachman, right? And we don't advertise.
Why are people so drawn to it?
Huh?
Why are people so drawn to it? Why are people
We have to-
now more than ever?
Rabbeinu Tam, Balitoisus, right? He has a sefer called Sefer HaYoshor. And he writes in there, if anyone asks you, give me the taste of Yiddishkeit, he says, ask them to give you the taste of an egg. Can you explain to me what an egg tastes like? He says, no. Taste it and you'll find out. And that's what I say about Rabbi Nachman's teachings. Taste it and you'll find out. What's so special? Rabbi Nachman has a major teaching called Azamra. Azamra means look for the good. Not only in everybody else, what the Mishnah says, but even in yourself. You're included in everybody else, right? You're included there. Now, would you agree with me that most of the world today is in depression? Yeah. Right? Rabbi Nachman says, don't go there. He says, find the good in yourself. Be happy with yourself. Be happy with yourself. It's so basic to life. How could you live if everything is wrong? You're depressed, right? What's the sense? But if you're happy with yourself, you have a reason to live, right? Teenage suicides are at the highest level they've been. Why? Teenagers? In the prime of life? Right? What's wrong? Right? That's one of Rabbi Nachman's major teachings. The only lesson that Rabbi Nosson writes about, Rabbi Nachman said, go with this lesson. He advised strongly, take this lesson to heart. If you're happy with I did, hey, I know what I did wrong. Believe me, I know what I did wrong. Right? Did you ever say to yourself, you idiot, what did you do? You ever say that? Yeah. We all say it. Right? You mess up. You made a mistake. You made an error. You made a terrible you made a sin, whatever. Right? Don't go there. Go with the good that you have. Right? If you go with the good that you have, then you could be happy. I could be happy with myself. I could enjoy life. Right? Oh, I got my problems. Believe me, I got my problems. But I could be happy. Happy, Rabbi Nachman explains, is the hardest avodah. Sichas Sarat. He says what? He says, it's the hardest devotion you can have. Right? The hardest one. But you have to make yourself happy. It's not going to come, oh, you made a bris this morning? Wow, that's great. Happy, Baruch Hashem. Whether I had the money to pay for the meal or not, a different story. But I'm happy. I made a bris, Baruch Hashem. I made a kiddush, right? There was a bar mitzvah, whatever the case is, a wedding. I danced at the wedding. These things go away after a day or two, right? So simcha is not going to come to you. You have to make it happen. How? By finding something good about yourself. Finding an opening. This is great. Baruch Hashem, I have this. Baruch Hashem, I have that. I was very happy this morning when the plane landed in London. All right? I was very happy. All right? People always used to ask me, how was your flight? I traveled 100,000 miles a year. How was your flight? I said, we took off and we landed. What could I ask for more? I'm happy. Baruch Hashem, I landed. Right? Yeah, you have to be happy with the little things. It's the little things that are going to make your life happy and joyous. And you'll be able to, Baruch Hashem, I just said this 2 chapters till him. Just 2 chapters, not much. But I did it. All right? Or I learned a chapter of Mishnayos. Or I learned a block Gemara. All right? Or I helped a little old lady across the street. Right? Like the Cub Scouts in America. Right? They helped a little old lady across the street. But that's a Gemilas Chesed. It's a Gemilas Chesed, which is a mitzvah d'oraisa. It's a Mosaic law. Right? I did it. A little something. Right? I'm not going to say change a diaper because I very rarely did that. I think I did it 2, 3 times in my life. But changing a diaper of a kid who's soiled is also Gemilas Chesed. Right? There's so many little things that happen to you in your life. Right? Whatever, you had something nice to eat, you enjoyed it, something new, be happy. Thank Hashem. There's Yerushalmi, the end of Masechta Kedushin. The Yerushalmi says there'll come a time when a person will have to pay a price for not enjoying the things in life. It's Yerushalmi. Right? It doesn't mean you're supposed to go out and look for every enjoyment in life. And a lot of them are forbidden. Right? You have to but what's permissible, enjoy. If something good happened. So Rabbi Nachman says you have to be b'simcha. Be b'simcha, make it happen. He says smile. Right? Sichas Haran. Right? He says, if you have a smile on your face and you greet someone in the street with a smile, that person, you don't know what they're going through. Who knows how much they're suffering? You don't know. But if you greet them with a smile, when you smile, the whole world smiles with you. You ever hear that song? Right? It's true. Smile, and you could make the other person smile too. So that's another thing that Rabbi Nachman teaches. Smile. There is Hashem. How much are you aware of Hashem? Right? I don't remember the story. It's a little thing. A guy comes to a Litvak. How do you know there's Hashem? Well, he gave us the Torah. Goes to a chassid. He says, how do you know there's Hashem? Well, we have Shabbos and Yom Tov to enjoy. We can take a drink. He comes to a Breslov. How do you know there's Hashem? I just spoke to him. Right? Hispoidetus. Speak to Hashem. He's real, but he won't be real if you have no connection to him. Make your connection. You're in charge of that. Right? Make your connection to Hashem. Speak to Hashem every day. Right? Your own words. Your own words. You daven every day? Nice, right? Where did davening come from? The Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. When they came back from Golus Bovel, they established the Siddur. What was Tefillah, which is a mitzvah esem in the Torah, what was it before the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah made the Siddur? There was no Siddur. It was his poetitus. Every person davened to Hashem. Rabbi Nachman says, don't do away with his poetitus. Keep your poetitus going. Right? He teaches there's no such thing as giving up hope. Now, I mean, I'm in the fundraising business. We have the Breslov Research Institute. And I can tell you, there were many times I just wanted to give up. I can't. Rabbi Nachman said, don't give up. I mean, you know what it means to go, hello, sir, how are you? I want to separate you from some of your hard-earned money. You know what it means to go fundraising? No matter what you say, that's what you're saying. Right? It's not easy. Right? Whatever. But we don't give up. But I have a magnet in my office. It reads, I started off with nothing. And I did. I had nothing when I started. And I still have most of it. Right? The difference is between the first nothing and now over $10 million. Pounds? $10 million went into printing Rabbi Nachman's teachings. I still have nothing. I don't. It's a day-to-day grind, right? But we don't give up. We don't give up. Hashem, where in the H are you? Right? We say that. Where are you? Where are you? You're in my life. I know that. The Jewish nation is the greatest proof that Hashem is here. Hashem promised that you'll go into exile, and at the end of time, I'll take you out of exile. And if what you're witnessing with the Balfour Declaration, that was English, right? Right? He said, yeah, you can have your own land. It wasn't him, it was for heaven, right? The UN resolution, it doesn't matter. Fact is that the Jews are going back to Eretz Israel in increasing numbers. The Nevi'im all the Nevi'im, Yeshaya, Yirmiyah, Yechezkel, and the others, they all predict that before Mashiach comes, before, the Jews will go back and start rebuilding the land. That's happened. We are witness to the prophecies coming true, right? Right? Doesn't make it any easier when you have something like October 7th, right? There's difficulties. There's plenty of difficulties. But never give up. Never give up hope. These are some of Rabbi Nachman's major teachings. Okay? Why is he so sought after? Because nobody says it like Rabbi Nachman. Nobody. Nobody. All right? All the Sfarim, I'll tell you a story. But I was in Boca Raton, Florida. You may have heard of it, maybe not, doesn't matter. We had a guy there. I was there several times, and one of the guys I convinced to come to in Rosh Hashanah. He came with two of his boys. He was very happy, so he invited me down for a Shabbos. So this is about 20 years ago. I go down there for the Shabbos, and the Shabbos morning meal, he has 6 couples as guests. 6 couples, okay? And we washed for Moitzi, and one of the guys was the assistant rabbi of the Boca Raton synagogue, South African fella. Huh?
I'm South African.
You're South African? His name is Chaim, Barak Bar Chaim.
Another Bar. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
okay? You can call him and ask him if the story is true. I mean, I have no problem with it. I have a witness to it anyway, but yeah. Barak Bar Chaim, that's it. And we're in touch till today. But anyway, he starts off the meal. I have big problems with these Breslov guys. They leave their wives for Rosh Hashanah with the kids and whatnot, and they go off to Uman. That's how we started the meal, right? Now, I have a choice. I could either answer him, he's challenging me, I could challenge him. But I have 6 couples. The guys, I don't know where they're holding, if they know anything about Breslov or not. The woman, for sure not. All right? Now, how do I answer him in a way that is not only acceptable, it's a positive thing to do, to go to Rosh Hashanah. It took me about 20 minutes, and I don't remember what I said exactly. I mean, if I had to do it, I'd probably do it again, but the words are the same, right? Torah is nitzchias, right? But I answered him in such a way it came out that his question had no basis. How important it was to go to Rosh Hashanah in such a way that I don't know how you can even ask such a question, but without embarrassing him. Okay. I finished that. He came back with another challenge. And he challenged me again with some other thing against Breslov. I mean, he was a Litvak. Right? So whatever the case is, this went on for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, he kept on challenging me, and I always have to answer in a way that's acceptable. Everyone understands that I'm right. Right? Now, not easy, but we did it, Baruch Hashem. At the end of the 2.5 hours, I said to him, enough. I said, you challenged me 2.5 hours. I answered you. Now I'm going to throw out a challenge to you. Take any 5 Mussar Svarim. Could be the Vilna Goyen, Chofetz Chaim, Novis Hamor, Tanya, Ramchal, whatever you want. Take any 5 Mussar Svarim. I want you to learn 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day from each of the Svarim. And then I want you to take any Breslov Sefer, anyone, so I'm not directing him. Take any Breslov Sefer and learn 5 minutes a day. Take a half hour Musa every day, right? That's what you're going to do, right? At the end of a month, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm asking the question now. And I say this, understand that every Sefer ever written from Adam Arishon till today all encourages you to find Hashem. That's what it's all about. Judaism is about finding Hashem, speaking to Hashem. So you're going to learn 6 Musar, right? At the end of the month, I want to hear from you who speaks the loudest and the clearest how to find Hashem. And I guarantee you it'll be the Breslov Sefer. That was my challenge to him. A few weeks later, he's the assistant rabbi in the shul, right? A few weeks later, my friend sends me an email. Do you remember that Litvak rabbi at the table? I said, yeah. He says, yesterday was Shabbos Shalashudus, and he taught a lesson in Likutei Moharan. Right? A few weeks later, he calls me up. How do I get to Rosh Hashanah? And he came. He came. He became later on the rabbi in a shul, so he finds it difficult. But the year of COVID, when the shuls were all closed, he came with his son. Right? Nobody says it like Rebbe Nachman. There is a Ribbon Shalom in Chaim Aran. The Rebbe says, I'll say it in Yiddish first. Die Eibishter is mit dir, bei dir, leben dir. Schreck sich nicht. Hashem is with you, next to you, alongside you. Don't ever be afraid. Hashem is with you 24/7. If he's with you 24/7, what do you have to be afraid of? Hashem li lo yiro. Pastor can tell him. You say it in Hallel. Hashem is with me. What do I'm not going to be afraid. Right? That's the whole tachlis of a Jew, to make your connection to Hashem. Right? Simple enough.
I have to run personally. Can we hop one a niggin before we go, just for the chaver to sing together?
You can have a niggin, but we can maybe daven mincha.
I would like that too. Yeah.
Is that possible? Because I have a flight to catch today at
We do a small niggin first.
I have to
or
go to Luton.
Straight to the Huh? Yeah? Okay, let's do a quick niggin. It's a chaval for Jews to have 2 guitars in a room and not use them.
I agree.
So let's do a quick.
I agree. Rabbi Nachman said that every person should have a niggin that he should use to rouse himself to Hashem. Pick out a tune and sing it whenever things are difficult. We have a minyan?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, then we'll talk about this.
Sheinu matoil chelkeinu, manoim boirodeinu. 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 Sheinu matoil chelkeinu, manoim boirodeinu.
My son, he forces me to do more fundraising than I want to. Anyway, we have an emergency campaign now for Pesach. We're collecting money, more Schitim, for, you can pass this out. We're collecting more Schitim for the Breslov families in Eretz Israel. We have 500 families that we try and help support for Pesach, give each one a decent sum so they can help feed their families. If anyone could join that, please do. We also have here a couple of Sforim for sale. This is a leather-bound Agoda Shel Pesach. On the thing it says, if you could support 2 families, $360, I don't know how many pounds, must be 300 pounds or whatever it is, give or take. If you can support 2 families for Yontif, you get this Haggadah for free. Otherwise, you can purchase it. Right? It's the Breslov Haggadah. It's with Rabbi Nachman's teachings. Right? You can spend your night, your Leil Pesach.
Same as this one, just leather?
Yeah, that's the same one, yeah. And you can spend your night, the Seder night, with Rabbi Nachman, right? You hear his ideas and whatnot, right? We'll tell you a small, a short parable. Rabbi Nachman, a Jew and a German were traveling together, and hobos. They were traveling, became friends, and it comes Pesach. And the German asks, what are we going to eat? Or what are you going to do? The Jew says, don't worry, we'll go to Shul Pesach night. I'll tell you what the Seder is like. We'll get invited to someone's house. So they go to Shul, and of course they're invited to someone's house. The Jew to one place, the Goy to another place. And he's sitting there by the Seder, and the Jew forgot to tell him about the Morah. Just forgot. So they're sitting by the Seder, and he's waiting, and this and the customs and the, and the karpas and then the Haggadah, and then they got to eat matzah. They're eating cardboard and whatnot, whatever the case is. They go. Finally, they come to the Morah. The German takes one bite, hits that Morah. You stupid Jews! This is what you wait for the whole night. Because he told them about after the matzah, there's delicacies. If this is what you wait for the whole night, he ran out of the house in anger. The Jew comes back a few hours later, and oh Hashem, he had a meal, everything. And he asked the guy, how was your Seder? And he starts cursing. He says, you foolish German, foolish guy. You would have waited one more minute. You would have had all the delicacies in the world. Never give up. Never. You never know. But Nosson brings on the Kuta Halachos that the worst moment is usually when the Yeshua comes. The Jews were in 49 levels of Tumah in Mitzrayim. Had they waited another day, they would have been finished. The Yeshua came when? the last minute.
Why is that?
Huh?
Why is it like that?
Why does it always come at the last minute? Why do you always find something in the last place you look?
But why is it like that?
Why do you always find something in the last place that you look?
I don't.
Huh? No, that's where you find it. The last place you look, the last minute. Right? Hashem is there. He's waiting for us to turn to Him. Hashem, where are you? Right? He's waiting for us. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't make Him wait. Right? You ever go for a job interview? Right? They made you wait, sit outside in the anteroom. Right? Wait. Right? That's what life is about. Right? Waiting. Rabbi Nachman has a whole lesson on patience, what it means and whatnot. Right? But be patient and wait. Yeshua will come. But when Hashem wants it to come.
But I don't understand your answer. Why does it come at the lowest level?
Huh?
I don't understand your answer. Why does it come at the lowest level?
Why does it?
Why does it have to come? You said the trend is that it comes at the lowest point. Yeshua comes.
Oh, no, it could come earlier.
So why is the
It
trend?
may come earlier. But when a person is in a real tzara, and you don't see any way out of it, right? If you wait, and daven to Hashem, it'll be there. It'll come. He knows when we need it, right? You have a business, or you work for someone.
For me,
Yeah,
somewhere in between.
somewhere.
I'm trying to still waiting.
So just let me use the business as an example, right? Do you ever seek a certain sale?
No. Someone, I don't know, maybe.
Well, whatever. But do you ever notice that it came not from where you saw it, but it came from another direction? Did you ever notice that?
I've only had one.
Okay.
So,
But it came from another direction, nothing that you thought of,
yeah.
right? Why? Because Hashem was giving you what you need when you need it, not when you want it, right? What I want may not be the right thing. It may not be the right time for it. It may not be, right? Hashem knows. You say it every day in davening. Einei choyel elecho yisaberu, v'yato noisein lahem es ochlam, their food, be'itoy. It's time. Ochlam is plural, itoy is singular. There's a Gemara in Ksuvos. Gemara says, a person, you have to, a guy who had money and he lost it all, you're supposed to give him, make him feel comfortable and whatnot. So the Gemara tells a poor person came to Rava. You heard Abayi and Rava? Rava, the Godol Ador. Right? He comes to Rava, he says, Rebbe Parnaseni, I need food. The Mashal says it must have been Rosh Chodesh or something like that. Because he hears, he says, well, what do you eat? What can I give you that will make you feel good? He says, a fat chicken and good old wine. Right? I mean, that's why the Mashal says Rosh Chodesh. It had to be a special day. He's asking for something like that. The Mashal says to him, the Rava says to him, so much you're demanding from the public? So much you're demanding from the public? The guy says, I'm not asking from them anything. Right? And he said that pasuk, Einei choyel elecha yisaberu, everyone's looking to you, Hashem. V'yato noisein lahem es ochlam, you will give them their food, but be'itoy, it's time. Now is the time that it's due me. At that moment, Rava's sister, who we hadn't seen in 13 years, came in to Rava, and she brought him a present, a fat chicken and old wine. Rava said, you got me, it's yours, finished. The thing that you need will come. I right? Say, I have seen this hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. I'm an electrician by trade. I was an electrician in the States. When I moved to Israel, I was an electrician for a couple of years until I got involved teaching Bali Tshuva and whatnot. And then I got into Breslov to do the books. But whatever it was, right, I had seen it in the electrical field in America, right? I used to start off the week. I don't see enough money to end the week, right? And Hashem would send me a telephone call. Go to this guy, go to that guy, this, try here, do this, do that. And things, I would see it. I would see with my own eyes how Hashem is running the Parnasa. And that's what's true. The Gemara says in Brachos, whoever says Ashrei 3 times a day is guaranteed portion in the world to come. Okay? Ashrei 3 times a day. It's like go, what is it? Go, Pierce, go. Monopoly, what do they say? Is a get out of jail free. Get it. Why 3 times? Zoya says the first time in Sukkot Zimra, it's because you're acknowledging that Hashem feeds the entire world. It's an acknowledgement that Hashem feeds the entire world. The second time you say it is after Ashrei Yevol Tzion, and then you have a mincha. He says, why do you have to say it twice? Because first you thanked Hashem for what goes on in the entire world. But then there's a pasuk that says Hashem lochem boso be'erev le'echol. Hashem gives you meat to eat at night, v'lechem ba'boker l'spoya, and bread to eat in the morning, right? So you have to have, for your own self, recognize that Hashem is the one who's feeding you. So you said it for the whole world. You recognize Hashem's hands. Now you're recognizing that Hashem feeds you in the morning and He feeds you in the evening, right? That's why. And Reb Nosson has a whole piece on this in Likutei Halachos. He says, why? The Gemara asks, why do we say, why Ashrei? Right? The Gemara says because it has the whole olive base. Even the Nun, but it has the whole olive base. So the Gemara says, if you're looking for the whole olive base, there's Kapitel Kuf Yutes and Tiller. It's got 8 times the olive base. Say that. What? Why Ashrei? No, it's because it has that pasuk about Parnasa. Poiseach es yodecha, you open your hand and you give everyone their feet, right? So the Gemara says, so say Halel Agodol. There it says, Noisein lechem l'chol bosa. Right? Halel, kili odem chasle, right? It says, Noisein lechem l'chol bosa. So the Gemara says, Ashrei has both of them. Both of them. It has the olive base and it has the Poseach Es Yodecha. Reb Nosson says, so what? Say both of them. Say Kapitel Kuf and say Halal Agodol. What's wrong? He says there has to be something that those two are combined. That's why you that both of them combined. That's why you get Olam Haba. What's both of them combined? The Aleph Beis has all the words you could say. ABCs, right? Anything and everything you say or do could lead you to do tshuva, to return to Hashem. That's the importance of the Aleph Beis. Use your words wisely. Right? But it's not going to help if you're going to be downtrodden because of the parnosa. You got to go out to work, right? You ever hear that? You got to go out to work. You got to earn your money with it. Right? But if you believe that it's Hashem who provides, not my work, but it's Hashem who provides. He got me into this business, he got me to do this, whatever the case might be, right? If you believe that Hashem provides, then you can use your words wisely. And that's why if you say Ashrei 3 times a day, you get Odom Haba. Because you can always turn to Hashem. Right? Ashrei, you gotta say Mincha. Ashrei.
Definitely.